Welcome, everybody, to the May edition of the Kentuckiana FileMaker Developers Group. If you're joining us on YouTube, please be sure and check us out live and in person the fourth Tuesday of every month. Anybody and everybody who has any interest in FileMaker is welcome. We'd love to see you in person to join the conversation and get to know us and let us get to know you. So please be sure and check us out at kyfmp.com. This month, we've got proof, which uh, I guess it's now Proof Systems and Humans is the new term for you guys, or the new company name. Is that correct? Proof
That's
Systems.
it.
Yeah. Okay. And we've got Angelo and Andrew who are going to talk to us about Docker. And so, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you guys and take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. My name is Andrew. I'm working with Proof for about 6 years now, based out of Florida now, but spent some time in Kentucky. Went to Berea College, for those of you who are Kentucky based. If you don't know where that is, it's just south of Lexington, but
Yeah.
it's exciting to be back here. Working here with Angelo Luchi, who's our Director of Operations at Proof Systems and Humans. And yeah, we wanted to give you a tour of the Automatic Cloud Console and Automatic Essentials, two products that we've been working on and we're really excited to present. I'll go ahead and share my screen.
I confirmed to allow you to share. I don't know if you have to click it again. They changed it a little bit in Zoom recently.
Yeah, let's.
There we go.
Can
There we
everyone
go.
see?
Yeah, we can see you now.
All right, so the idea, we'd love to give you a walkthrough. So forgive me if I speed through some of this. But wanted to lay a little bit of the groundwork first on the automatic platform, the Cloud Console, and others. So the Cloud Console platform, for those of you who are not familiar with it, we've built a console for you to manage all of your servers, whether they are hosted with us at Automatic or hosted on-prem or elsewhere. We've built a centralized console for you to be able to do things like server monitoring, log analysis, file operations, identity, and OAuth uh, type things. We've got MCP servers that you can build directly through the Automatic Cloud Console to integrate with your FileMaker databases. And then we've got a project management tools there as well. So as far as server monitoring, we've got 10 charts that we display. Unfortunately, this is only for servers hosted with Automatic right now, because we do need to be able to get into the server to run the health checks. But at a glance, you'll be able to see CPU, memory, disk IO, remote calls, clients, and you'll be able to check graphs over time, so that you can see what resources look like, see where high utilization might be, and we also have a log analysis that you can pull directly from the server, so you don't have to download and re-upload. And we have tools for you to be able to view those logs and get good information from them. One of my favorites is the top call stats viewer, which lets you pull the XML of the top call stats and breaks down which processes are running, how long they run for, and it helps you kind of identify where bottlenecks might be on that. And then we've also got file operations exposed so that you can encrypt, decrypt, run recoveries, restore backups, download your files. All of that goes directly through the Automatic Cloud Console, so that you've kind of got the one centralized location where you have access to all of that. We've also got authorization, again, just so that you can connect through your cloud console. And there is a lot of points that we're excited about, including role-based user control, so that you can set up multiple users in your organizations. You have multi-tab organizations, so that you, as a developer, can be connected to multiple organizations and kind of silo all of those servers into their own specific locations. And then again, you can add users and also restrict user users according to different groups, so that you can give people the keys to their servers without giving them the keys to the kingdom. And we also have tools for DevOps, which I think is kind of the highlight that, or one of the big highlights of Automatic Cloud Console. So you can do projects, can go with snapshots, checkpoints, and create change notes so that you can get a whole DevOps pipeline flow. And then we also have AutoFMS is baked into the Automatic Cloud Console. So you are from the console, you're able to run migrations, which is one of the places where I think AutoFMS shines. Do data validation, swap, check logs, and as it says, the FM data migration is Claris's tool. AutoFMS is the orchestration around that, so that you're able to run those migrations more easily. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Angelo. I think was going to give you a Cloud Console walkthrough. Are you still
Yeah.
able to? I'm going to go ahead and give you the
All right.
screen there.
Everyone see my screen here. Perfect. Perfect. So over the years, people knew Automatic primarily as a FileMaker hosting provider, but over time we've evolved it into a much larger thing. It's a true operational platform designed to help businesses deploy, manage, secure, and modernize their applications and infrastructure. So at its core, Automatic is creating a unified operational ecosystem. That's everything that Andrew was just talking about there. So instead of managing different systems, servers in a cloud provider, backups over here, deployments and monitoring over there, your identity and automations, all separate, disconnected systems, Automatic brings them together into a single platform experience through the cloud console and its supporting services. And again, we're offering the cloud console, for free to the FileMaker community, just like we offer AutoFMS for free and auto deploy tools to sort of help the community make their lives better and get their applications deployed out there in a meaningful and quick and repeatable way. So our goal is to reduce complexity, standardize the operations, and give developers and organizations a faster and more reliable way to run their business critical systems. So what makes Automatic platform? Rather than a hosting service, is we have made it the foundation that other applications and workflows are built upon. The tools that we've created can help define an infrastructure layer, deployment tooling, security controls, DevOps workflows, storage, AI integration, monitoring, and automations. Everything that you would need to support either a traditional FileMaker environment or a modern hybrid AI-enabled app. So Andrew gave you some highlights of our cloud console here, and I'm just kind of going to give you a quick run through on what we're talking about. So I've deployed a couple of test servers for our our nice customer organization. We wish that every customer is a nice customer. We know sometimes that isn't always the case, but we're optimistic group over here. So we've got nice to have and nice to dev already deployed. We've got servers, I think are in Newark, New Jersey here. So this works with on-prem servers, like Andrew had mentioned as well. You can go ahead and install AutoFMS on your on-prem server as long as you've got 443 open. You can get it connected up to the Cloud Console here. Initial dashboards of a server give you stats of disk usage, CPU, memory utilization, and allow you to do some configuration tools here. Now, with the automatic deployed servers, we have a monitoring tab here that lets you dive in to see specific monitoring stats of that particular server. This is something new that we've recently released due to an overwhelming request for more visibility in servers. So as you can see, as you hover over these stats and graphs, you get a graph by graph view of that point in time, and you can highlight areas to zoom in and get a better window of what's going on. So we give you that visibility on our deployed servers. Now, standard FileMaker controls, file management is a big one. So we wanted to be able to allow you to, of course, stop, start, see stats on a file, connected users, but we also wanted to integrate in things like the developer tool. So from the Cloud Console, you can encrypt or decrypt your files. You can do a save as compressed. The recover is absolutely essential these days. Many people are having issues with, overwhelmed PSOS, crashing a file, or what's that new JSON function using up too much memory, causing corruption in systems too. Hopefully Claris will wrap that one up soon. But recover on the server without having to run a command line tool or download a file, recover it, and then upload it again. It can all be done from the Cloud Console on your server, either on-prem or in Automatic. Other things like removing admin access, kiosk mode, UUID, resets, clones, send to another server. Great feature. We use that all the time. You got files that you want to deploy to other servers you manage, you can just fire it off and go. And these are separate things from what AutoFMS can do for you as well. So in this console here, again, you can manage clients, disconnect clients. You can manage the individual services for each of your servers. So you can cycle your web publishing engine, scripting engine, things like that. And with our API key system, these are things that you can actually do programmatically if you wanted to. If you had an MCP server, for instance, you could actually have it cycle your web publishing engine based on just some conversation with it. That's something we're actively working on and adding some UI into here very shortly for that. One of the features that we're most proud of as well is the triggers. How many here have used the OData triggers for your FileMaker files yet to get webhooks out of it? We built an interface to handle it right here. From the triggers tab, you can actually select your file, use either our data API keys or give it some credentials, and we'll encrypt those, but connect in. You can add a trigger for whatever tables and fields that you want and have it go to a webhook endpoint, adding some authorization in there, select some fields. You can use some OData style filter clauses to get only active files or things like that. Very powerful feature if you wanted to be notified of record changes or deletions or things like that, built into the Cloud Console for free for you to use. So take advantage of it.
I need to take a look at that. Yeah, for sure. I need to take a look at that one.
Yeah, send it to Claire's Connect if you want. You can send it anywhere. But this has been a sought after feature. Our friend John Renfrew in London, helped us identify that, and that's really what the console is about. Is listening to the community and building these feature sets that we know the devs are looking for and want to use. So we want to give this to you. Again, if it's an automatic deployed server, you've got this backups tab here, which will give you access to the offsite immutable backups, one-click restores. If you click on a file here, you can get rid of the faces there. You can download a copy, or you can restore it directly from here. Um, Process logs is an interesting one. This is a new feature. Again, this goes hand in hand with the recovery that I was mentioning before. So you want to run a recovery on a file. If you go ahead and click here, it'll give you your standard sets of options here. We want to do a rebuild. Sure, we'll rebuild indexes now. I'm like playing with fire. So if I've got some large indices, this is going to take a little bit of time. I want to keep my print and sort caches. And I'll go ahead and start the recovery. This will bring up the process log here. So you'll actually have a recorded event log of services like this being run, as well as timing and things like that. So it'll go ahead and automate the whole closure of the file, copy of the file to a temp location, recovery, and it's going to stream the logs as it goes and does the process here, and it'll kick it back. Now this is running async, so you can get off this page and come back to it later if you want to, and go do other things, other file migrations, etc. And when it's done, it'll update its status here, and you can rehost, redeploy, or even do a FMS auto FMS migration, and pull the data out into a good copy from a backup. All of that's processes supported from within the Cloud Console. Monitoring gives you some logs. We've enhanced the log viewer. FileMaker, did it all right. We did it better. Uh, you can get in here and do some advanced searches on your logging. Automatic connected servers will benefit from our data lake. We will store up to a year's worth of logs and help accelerate the searching and do a little more complex searching operation on as well. You can go through here and search for, Pro. We'll find out who's running Pro 22. Was it that's event? Let's go to access log. That'll be, Pro 22 and filter, and it'll go ahead and filter out your logs so you can see those specific ones, date and time of when their connections were. The date and times are modified programmatically to show and reflect your date and times as well. So if you do have servers in different time zones, just something to keep aware of as well. Back to these extra tabs here. So webhooks is an interesting one. AutoFMS has a built-in webhooks receiver, and if I remember correctly, Kyle did an AutoFMS auto deploy session with you folks a couple of months back. I don't know if he talked about this at all, but AutoFMS has a built-in webhooks receiver, and you can use it in combination with SimpleQ. And what this does is essentially what Claris Connect would do. It's an inbound webhooks receiver. It'll auto-register. It creates pub sub queues, and you can have it fire off scripts and do all the fun stuff. And I think Kirk was mentioning a tool that John Howell had made years back that he had used, kind of similar to that. Again, built into AutoFMS, and SimpleQ is free. So feel free to make use of that. We give you a file browser, and we connect it to the majority of the FileMaker folders that are there. So your backups folder here, you can see your hourly and daily backups, get sizes on those as well. And if you've got folders in here, files in here, you can dig in and do restoration from there as well. You've got the clones only, your documents folder. This one was a popular request, the HTTPS root and HTTP conf folders. That way you can manage and change out your web data on the fly. So if you wanted to put a little website up here, you have access to do that, and you can manage it through the Cloud Console's UI. Obviously, the scripts, live databases, offsite storage is one where if you've got S3 compatible storage connected to AutoFMS, that will show up here as a folder. And I can go ahead and show you that in a second. Um, again, auto things, inboxes, outboxes, offsites, and then projects, backups, etc. Data API keys. We take the difficulty out of doing data API hooks and things like that by creating keys that are keyed towards credentials. That way, you're not sharing credentials everywhere. So AutoFMS will proxy that connection, and you can use the keys generated here to get data into your FileMaker database without having to expose credentials. Keys that you could just delete or disable would come from here. So that was kind of a quick dive into the servers aspect of it. Now we mentioned that this is a platform and we have many supporting things. One of them is managing your organization and your members. If I go in here and I pick our nice customer organization, I can see the people that are able to access the cloud console and see this organization. And you can see that they've got different permissions assigned to them. We've got everything going from owner down to member and privileges, and those memberships will give them different control over what they can do within the cloud console. Owners obviously can see everything, including billing. Admins would be everything except billing. You can pull the console credentials and things like that if you needed to. A developer would not have access to any of that or be able to deploy resources, but they can access the resources that you have. And a member is just slightly more limited there. Um, again, all of this stuff you can take advantage of for free right now, and work on that. Um, one of the features that Andrew had said that was his absolute favorite is our top call stats viewer. And this goes into some of the logging and visibility that we wanted to provide the community. Um, this feature lets you pull directly from the servers, your list of servers in the Cloud Console, and it'll give you a waterfall or a timestamp view of what you've got going on for top call stats. If I go ahead and take a look here, you see upload XML. You can give it the top call stats some additional metadata to help you understand and identify trouble spots within that top call stats log view. So I'll go ahead and pull that again, and it's going to pull up files that were hosted on that server. I'll go ahead and give it credentials here so it can do a save as XML and pull those 3 XML files on the fly directly into this. Yes, I know the admin passwords are not safe to use. Thank you, Google, for letting me know. So after a few moments, it'll go ahead and process that XML data and feed that in to match in the top call stats log to give you some context rather than table 231 and field 97, which you would need something like FM Perception or Inspector Pro or something like that to identify with. Using this XML as metadata, you can get in there a little faster and kind of understand that. So we've gone ahead and added that. Now you see it's resolved file names and table names, giving us some of the detail there. And ones that have inspect here, we can dive in a little bit deeper and see the layouts that that field is on, perhaps table occurrences, fields that are referencing it, things like that. The cool part here is if we go ahead and do timestamp view, and we want to take a look at some of these little spikes of orange over here, we can click and drag and zoom in and get a better detail, a better view there. But we can also correlate logs at the same time for those timestamps to understand what's going on with the server at that time period that may have caused that spike. On top of that, you have access, if this is an automatic deployed server, you have access to some of the monitoring graphs that we've provided within that console. So again, you can kind of get an idea of what was going on in that little time period to help troubleshoot some of your issues. I know that's a lot real quick, but any questions thus far? I'll take that as a keep going. All right. So you see your servers here. You've got some other options on the left-hand side, projects, SSO, cloud storage. Now, I'm just going to jump to cloud storage real quick because we had talked about that briefly before when I was mentioning offsite backups. So you can use our cloud storage. You can bring your own if you've already got an S3 account through, Wasabi or Backblaze or Amazon, any of them. We do immutable cloud storage through uh, Cloudflare for our primary backups, and then our deployed cloud storage is through our provider that we API directly in. So you can see and view what's going on with that from here, grabbing access to any of the location information if it's deployed through us. So what this allows us to do is get into a server, and we'll go ahead and get into some of the settings here for FMS offsites. And we can now link an endpoint, whether it be deployed again through us or through one that you wanted to add from your own storage location. I just went here and selected the ones that I had deployed and added it in here, and it shows up here. And oh, look, offsite backups. Once you've got that S3 location in there, you can get in here and you can pick a schedule or pick an existing schedule, create a new schedule. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one, point it to my backup location, the bucket that I deployed, and sure, I'll say nice to have is the remote folder path. If I have any container data in your extra folders, I'll go ahead and include that. If you wanted to, you can send that container data to a different remote location. I'll go ahead and zip the file, and I will create my schedule. So every day at 2 p.m. daily, max backups to keep, 2 on the server, and run every day. So I'll go ahead and create that, and there it is. So if I ever wanted to run an offsite backup to S3, I can run that ad hoc. It'll go ahead and process async. If you wanted notifications via Slack or a webhook, you can add that in here, and it'll let you know when things back up or have problems. Again, features you can take advantage of for free. And once this is up there, you can access that data through the file browser to either download or restore on the fly. So
That's the part
some
that's really nice. When I started using this, and I do have my offsite backup set up through this, you weren't able at that time to access the files through the file browser, but
Yep.
uh, that came along shortly after that. So it's been nice to have that capability and be able to get to them from there. And
Yeah, you can
yeah,
dive right in. And we get the backup config, and there's our files. And again, you can get in here and you can download, zip, copy, rename, delete, and all the fun things. All right. So next on the list is projects. A lot of you have heard of AutoFMS and Auto Deploy. Maybe some of you have also used or heard of Devon out there as well. Um, we have had sort of our own Git style solution for FileMaker, much like Devon does as well, where we do clones and XML compares and things like that within here. So every user gets access to a project for free with the Cloud Console. You can create releases and checkpoints and some other cool things that you can do that we have in our documentation, like web deployments as well. Um, I'll have to find that path. I do have it somewhere. Um, but in here, you can create release notes. So I had edited my file, took out an old address map from a staff view here, and I wanted to create a new checkpoint there, which will grab a clone, let me enter in my notes. And if I wanted to build a release that I can now use for deployments into my customer servers. So if I am managing, n number of servers on here and it's a vertical market app, I can deploy that change across the board without any effort at all, really. as long as, of course, you're not forking every customer's solution. But even if you are, you're probably managing them separately here, and we can add additional projects to anyone's account if need be. But you could manage each customer's project in here and deploy them, keeping track of notes and everything else going on here. So one of the great features of this is you can provide your customers a public release page, which would show you or show them the dates and the notes of what changed. Integrated into the Cloud Console and freely available. We have developers that set this up and they've hooked into some of the APIs to send it to Slack. So our customers are getting notified whenever we do a release of their solutions. And again, things you can automate at night with AutoFMS and auto deploy via the Cloud Console as well. Again, you can compare between checkpoints to see what changed. We use our comparison tools. I didn't make any changes between these two, but it would list all of the things here, as well as who changed it, what it was that was changed, based on the comparisons of the XML summaries from those files that we're saving along with the checkpoints. Last feature I want to touch on real quick is SSO. So one thing we wanted to provide as an identity provider was the single sign-on features. We know that there's tons out there. You've got Google Auth, you've got Entra ID, you've got Auth0. There's 100 of them out there, and the ones that Claire supports out of the box, like Google Auth and Entra ID, sometimes aren't the easiest to set up, number one, or offer you the best solutions out there. Like Google's doesn't support groups, so you have to put every user in every file, and if you're managing multiple files, that's a pain. Entra ID, we had to create a video walkthrough to help customers and developers kind of get Entra ID going, since they changed a few things. But again, groups are not group names; they're group IDs, and unless you've got good notes, that can be a little problematic. So we took an open source enterprise tool, and we've deployed it with Kubernetes and our cloud infrastructure, and we tied it into the Cloud Console. So now you can deploy a realm for SSO. You can deploy users and groups within there. And we decided to give a one-button application to set those settings directly into the admin console of any FileMaker server that's connected to the Cloud Console. So you don't have to futz with any of the keys or anything. You can just hit apply, and that server is ready to go for OAuth. So all you have to do is edit your file and edit the custom OAuth with some groups and create some users from within the dashboard. Once they verify their email and set a password, they can log in now with OAuth, and you don't have to do much outside of that. And this is a relatively low cost item. I think it's $30 a month, but it gives you access to spin up whatever users you want and connect it in. All right. Now, last feature that we're going to chat on, and I know you guys saw it here, was MCP servers, and I'm going to turn this back over to Andrew, and he's going to kind of go through this part of it with you. Andrew, there you go.
Yep. Can everyone see my screen again?
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. So one other feature that Angelo neglected to mention, we've got light mode, dark mode. So usually a dark mode guy, but here we've got it in a different model. So yeah, let's look at MCP servers. AI is all the rage right now, and we've built a way for you to access your data and build an MCP server. MCP, of course, stands for Model Context Protocol, which is the language that the AI models use to chat. It's essentially API for AI. So before getting started, you're going to need to have a valid API key connected to whichever file, and I've gone ahead and set that up already. But let's go ahead and build this from scratch. So we're going to kill the server here, and we will create something new. And we're going to connect it to this file, server name, management, and it'll create a unique server slug for the MCP server. And you do want to give a good description here for the clients. And set it to active. If you uncheck this, then of course it would not be active anymore. And we're going to go ahead and add a tool so that we can use this. And we'll create customer. And we are going to give it which script we want to call so that it can integrate directly into that. And I already have a script in the FileMaker database called create contact. I'll go ahead and show that here just so that we can see it is just a straight FileMaker script. Takes a JSON object and it sets fields. And we'll go ahead and add the input parameters. So first name, we'll go ahead and set that as required. Email. What else do we need? Phone number. Let's set that to cell number. And a website. And give them all descriptions. And you can see there are multiple different input types, strings, numbers, booleans, and then we also have enum values that you can set if you want to constrain to a certain value set. So. And we will create the tool. And then while we're here, we're going to go ahead and copy the config because we're going to need to set that up inside of whatever AI model we're using. I'm going to use Claude Code for this example. So before we get started, we're going to do this. We're going to grab the configuration, which has keys and arguments and everything in there. And then we're going to jump into the developer settings. We have to edit the config here. So I'll pull that up. And we're gonna just replace that server I've got here with this one. Clean it up a bit. do need to restart Claude before any of the settings take. So let me jump out, jump back in. And while this is going, I'll go ahead and pull up the starting point record. This is just Richard Carlton's starting point solution. Pretty boilerplate model. And let's go ahead and see if it took. So we'll jump in here, we'll look at the connectors, and you can see that the customer management tool is connected. And you can also see that if you go back into settings, you should see that the MCP server is running and it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and add a contact. Ron was kind enough to provide me a business card, so we're going to get Claude to dissect that and add it straight into our database. Give it some context, and we'll let it do its thing. Ron Cates has been added. We'll go back to here and we can see Ron Cates has been added to the database. So that's a pretty simple, straightforward example of how to set up an MCP server, and kind of gives an idea of what you're able to do. We have that integrated again directly with the Cloud Console, so you're able to jump in and create any of these that you would like.
That was definitely very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, tools that are bundled and free for you all to use.
Yeah, that's one of the things that amazes me with you guys, the stuff that you provide. And I was using uh, the migrator tool for a long time. And then a couple of years ago at Pause on Air, when your guys were down there and they said, "Oh, yeah, it's free now, so we're going to stop charging you for it." I was like, "What? Who does that?" So, yeah, you guys are great for that stuff.
Well, it keeps Kyle busy, and we want to keep him busy.
Yep, we're always excited to hear what the community wants and needs, and be able to jump in and tailor. That's definitely our focal point here. And on that note, we have also released I guess an upgraded product that we call Automatic Essentials, which leverages Docker to create servers or to place FileMaker servers. So yeah, has anybody here used Docker with FileMaker server yet? Is there any adoption? Sounds like not much.
FMCloud.fm, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Leave that stuff up to other people.
Yeah.
Claire's could have done a better job in simplifying that process, but here we are. The default install for Claire's and Docker is a good starting point. It's not production ready per se. It's best suited for a dev environment if you follow the instructions on that. We've kind of taken it a few steps further. So we recognize that it is a great dev environment, and its gains with AutoFMS alone are significant. One thing I noted in previous testing was we saw up to a 10x increase in migration speed, or shorter migration speed, I should say, with Docker FileMaker servers. And this is because usually you're deploying a bare metal with a lot of RAM and a lot of CPU available, and you're going to run multiple containers on there. But Docker will allow that container to drift upwards with more CPU and more RAM, and then it releases it at the end and puts it back to the pool for all the other containers to see. So you get this huge burst. So when that data migration tool decides that it needs 32 gig of RAM to finish processing that file, you get a 10-minute migration versus a 90-minute migration in that case. So it's pretty substantial, and it was pretty cool. We wanted to use it for other things. We decided to integrate it with Cloudflare, which has been an interesting endeavor. Cloudflare has a product called Argo Smart Routing, and we like to use Docker with HTTPS tunneling enabled. So our low end plans for that, we have an Essentials plan, which is for 5 or fewer users, where we bundle the FileMaker Pro licensing into the cost of the server, so everything's together. But it requires HTTPS tunneling. And then we have another plan, which is $59 a month, which also requires HTTPS tunneling. But we saw a huge benefit there as well. We saw increased speed in just FileMaker operations due to the low latency network that Cloudflare can provide. On top of that, you've got some redundancy built in. When you set up the Cloudflare D tunnel on your container, and you can do this on a regular FileMaker server as well, it creates 2 to 3 connections out to different data centers and allows failover. So if there's a problem with one, or if one has more latency, it'll just hop over to the next and hop over to the next. And you may see a little blip in FileMaker Pro, but it still continues to function. And again, it's going through Cloudflare's private network, so you don't have the latency loss on hop routing that you would get from just regular internet. So using HTTPS tunneling allows 443 access to FileMaker server, and that was the secret sauce to get it, in Cloudflare's infrastructure. Again, coupled with the Docker aspect of it, we just saw huge gains with AutoFMS and migration tool migrations within that platform.
Yep, and that's something that we've been really working on hard these past few months, the Automatic Essentials platform. Again, the idea is that we are trying to create enterprise grade solutions at non-enterprise prices. So like Angelo mentioned, the lowest end of the plan is just a single user server. That's $30 a month. Comes with the license, so batteries included. Bang, you're ready to go.
30 per user.
$30 per user per month. Yes.
And then we have the 59, bring your own license. And then we have a 99, which has more speed, no tunneling restrictions, but is Docker based as well. More storage. But we'd love to answer questions about the Docker aspect of it. If anyone has any questions here, Alex, I see you've been interested in that.
Some of this, honestly, I'm more of a developer in other languages, and I'm fairly about a year in on FileMaker, so I'm one that's just kind of learning from the presentation more than anything.
Got it. Yeah, it's a platform that we're working with Claris on to get more love to it. We've helped them sort out a number of issues. If anyone has used it in the past and noticed that it didn't retain things like SMTP settings or encryption key settings, we worked with them on fixing those issues, which will be released in this next release with 26. And then we're working with them to essentially make it more Docker friendly. There's a couple of things to note with Claris and Docker. if you do look at it and do deploy it, you'll notice one interesting aspect of it, and it is it requires something called privileged mode. And privileged mode could be a red flag for security conscious people, and other people who use it don't mind so much because maybe they're only running a single Docker container on a server, and they're not too concerned about that. But what privileged mode does is it allows that container to access more of the core operating system than a normal sandbox container. So that is the big thing to note with Docker, and that's why we say it's not truly production ready without some work. That is how it comes default from Claris. So if you put some effort and some time into it, you can lock it down further. We take it a step further and do encryption at rest mounted disk images for customer data, isolating it even further. But you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. One of the tools that we're coming up with for Docker right now is a proof kit integration where you can actually just spin up a quick FileMaker server, test out your proof kit for UAT, user acceptance testing, and close it all down. That way you're not keeping those resources running. You're using it for what it was designed for, which was a quick dev environment to make sure things are running properly, and then closing down that process and throwing it away. It's just there to make sure that it can actually pass these tests that you're coming up with. So there's some really cool things that Docker can do, and we're planning on doing in the future as well. And again, things that we're hoping to release for free for the community as part of the tool set that we're working on.
So for some of us, some of our viewers and myself included, like I've seen some demos on ProofKit before, and can you tell us more about ProofKit and how that ties
Ah.
in and where you access that and all that? I'm really kind of interested in ProofKit. I'd love to have you guys come back and do like a presentation on ProofKit.
Yeah, we can have Eric and Todd do a bit on ProofKit here. So ProofKit originally was a way to develop a web app that was connected to your FileMaker database. So it was a command line tool that helped generate the scaffolding for Node.js type apps. And we decided to take it a step further and make it a vibe coding interface now for FileMaker. So we decided to keep that whole web aspect of it alive, and we basically allow you now to vibe code complex web enabled layouts for FileMaker web viewers. And this is how we've been building auto deploy for years now. And it's something we've kind of sort of wanted to mainstream a little bit more as a way to actually develop some modern FileMaker applications. So again, it allows you to do these complex interfaces with the web viewer. You can, I think it'll spin off scripts and do some table and field manipulation as well, similar to the other plugin that you were mentioning. I think Jonathan, were you mentioning that? Someone was mentioning it anyway. The AI Genie, I think it was called. But if you visit proofkit.proof.sh, you can get access to download the tools to integrate with your FileMaker solution. So it works as an add-on with a plugin to initially get it set up, and then you can use that to vibe code your way in with Claude or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. So is it kind of like NPM or Vite? You're saying doing it with Node, like kind of command prompt? Is it sort of that same sort of
It
scaffolding?
uses npm in the background
Gotcha.
to
Yeah,
create things. Yeah, exactly.
very
So
cool.
if you're used to doing that already with your vibe coding tools, this will feel very, very native, and bringing that type of interface into FileMaker.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Does it now? I know FileMaker. I'm working on an app now, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to do it for Android, but
Yeah.
does yours support that? Is it something that can be wrapped or put in, or is it strictly iOS?
So funny enough, ProofKit actually works fantastic in WebDirect. So
Oh, cool.
we're still using FileMaker for the most part
Gotcha.
to do this. So you're doing web UIs within
Mhm.
FileMaker. Obviously, you can still use the ProofKit the old way and create web interfaces that just tie back to your FileMaker data as well. So we've given you the tool sets with AutoFMS and the API keys and things like that to do all of this from beginning to end. But the new evolution of ProofKit will let you create these interfaces within FileMaker, so you can take advantage of the security model that FileMaker's already built in, the delivery mechanisms that FileMaker has, like WebDirect and Pro. You don't have to worry about finding, a Vercel style host out there to host this web app. Everything can be, self-contained within that FileMaker database and distributed in that FileMaker database.
Yeah.
And you can still use a lot of that FileMaker skill set that you already have. Just add that really, really nice and sexy web UI on top of
Mhm.
FileMaker, which is great.
Have you guys been able
Um,
to do anything to basically simulate responsiveness using doing a web viewer interface to be able to
Definitely.
create responsive layouts, which of course is one of the things that FileMaker just does not have. So if you're trying to create layouts that work both on desktop and in mobile,
Yep.
you basically have to do multiple layouts. But with a web direct or a web viewer interface, you can bring responsiveness to the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. We've
that's a
also,
big one
yeah,
right there. Yeah.
we built in a custom queuing system that's in part of this here to help with sort of record refreshes. So if someone changes data in FileMaker Pro, it'll actually refresh and show within your web interface
Yeah.
on there. So that's check it out.
Yeah.
Proofkit.proof.sh, and I'll throw the link in the chat
Yeah.
here.
Would you please? Yeah, we do a lot of integration work. We kind of specialize in, we developed a WordPress plugin to integrate with the
Hmm.
data API, which kind of, is a whole different world to begin with. But,
Hmm.
so we do a lot of vibe coding
Yep.
and utilize that. Uh, the WordPress plugin is essentially a snippet plugin where you can put in your own code, but it's got all
Hmm.
the back end structure for connecting to the FileMaker database and managing the tokens
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff built into the
Yep.
plugin.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that's been our kind of bread and butter that is our flagship product and everything. But as AI evolves and develops, like now it's trying to figure out where can we integrate AI into that and things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so so we're real interested in that in all of the integration type stuff, especially data API and everything, because
Hmm.
that's where we live now. Alex and I, we
Yep.
work together and that's pretty much where we live these days is doing these integrations. And
Wonderful.
so we're always interested in all the different ways to do integrations. And Alex is doing right now currently working on a mobile app in
Hmm.
React using
Hmm.
the data API to connect to
Yep.
FileMaker backend and therefore being able to provide, hopefully, it's kind of an experiment that we're doing for full access,
Hmm.
doing a mobile app for full access that we're not announcing yet because we haven't determined whether we can pull it off and make sure that it's ready to for the conference.
You just
But
did.
it's looking good. It's getting there. So the idea would be,
No
you know,
pressure on me or anything,
yeah,
but
no
yeah, you
pressure
just
on
threw it out
Alex.
there.
But the idea being that, instead of using a FileMaker Go app, we would actually be able to provide the attendees with an actual mobile app that they can
Right.
download and install.
And we're
Yep.
kind of at the point to throw it through the Apple Store now and just see, the test store and the regular and
Hmm.
see
Yeah.
how they like a FileMaker backend, which you think,
Hmm.
I mean, they kind of own it. You think they'd really like it, but you never know.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
What are the interesting parts of using FileMaker as sort of the delivery mechanism for your web apps is businesses or larger enterprises that have restrictions on web apps will
Mhm.
actually prefer if it's in WebDirect because it's a product that's already
Hmm.
sealed and delivered and
Yeah.
it's been through the scrutiny of being a validated validated application on their platforms. So you add your web app into there, and now you've got security covered, you've got the delivery mechanism covered, and you use it in WebDirect. And like I said, ProofKit works fantastic in WebDirect. Todd was really surprised when he saw the results of that, and he's pushing that one pretty hard at this point.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. But we'll have our coordinator reach out to you, and we'll set some time up with Todd and Eric and get them on your
Yeah, that would
one of
be
your next
great.
ones.
I think I reached out to him a while back, a couple of years ago about ProofKit, seeing if we could get him scheduled in, and it didn't go anywhere. But we have had you guys on before, Proof for
Yeah.
Automatic and all that, and had always have a really good presentation from you guys and a really good group. So
Wonderful.
I still leaves my offline first environment hanging. Doesn't solve any of that.
Honestly,
you can
well, let me let you in on a little bit. Part of what we're doing and what Alex is spearheading includes an offline mode that queues up all of the requests. It actually caches the data and then queues up the requests if the device is offline, and then runs the requests as soon as the device comes back online. So we are actually addressing that, trying to see if we can put in a component that deals with offline being disconnected and being able to still continue to use the app, and then having things synchronized with the FileMaker database once it comes back online. So we're working on that.
I have a question for the group. How many here would be interested in a scale to zero FileMaker server? Meaning, if there's no traffic, it shuts itself down, and as soon as traffic hits it, it turns itself back on and allows connections in. Wouldn't work very well for scheduled scripts, but dev server might be something.
I suppose that would depend on if that affects the cost at all. If it's
Well, it's scaled to zero, so
Yeah.
you would just pay for storage at that point instead of having the full server running all the time.
Yeah.
So would that be on Amazon or?
It'd be Docker based.
Okay,
It's
so
something that we're toying with on our platform as a potential tool. Yeah.
Cool.
That would be interesting.
I guess it would depend on how quickly it responded.
200 milliseconds.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
So I can go out for lunch, and come back and it'll be ready.
If you've got 100 files, it might take more, but handful of files, it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Didn't work very well for gasoline engines.
I don't have a problem with it on my Jeep.
Angelo, I have a question. You mentioned web viewer and WebDirect in the same breath, almost. And so do you deploy differently if it's WebDirect, or do you just use the same web viewers in WebDirect?
Same web viewers in WebDirect.
So that's working well now?
It is working very well. The recent releases have fixed many of the issues that we've had over the years. We've been deploying WebDirect or web viewer layouts in auto deploy for quite some time now. And we've gone through the iterations of problems with running it in WebDirect, and we never really recommended it. But these recent few releases and the upcoming release have shown that they've made the changes in the right direction to run those web viewers well within WebDirect.
Cool. Okay. So you don't have to have multiple paths
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And the ProofKit interface will help, build that out properly for you. So
Nice.
Okay, proof gets a priority look.
we're very proud of that one. And again, we're trying to give it to the community and hope people can build some very cool things with it.
Yeah. Well, I definitely have been using Auto FMS on all on my servers and use Auto Deploy and for all my migrations and everything. And yeah, been really impressed with the stuff that you guys have made available, and especially, like I
Appreciate
said,
that.
I mean, that blew my mind when a couple years ago when I was told that I was no longer going to have to pay for the migration tool, and I was like, who does that? Who just decides, yeah, we're just going to stop charging for this product and make it free for everybody? And so that's when it got rolled into Auto FMS.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, I don't know that I could live without it at this point. Any client I have, one of the first things I do is ask, install Auto FMS.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you've got clients that, for instance, don't have a static IP, or are looking to lock it down further, we did recently upgrade the Cloud Console to have a series of static outbound IPs, so you can whitelist them in firewalls now.
Well,
You just have to email support, and we'll send that information over to you so they can whitelist it, and you can tie somebody into the Cloud Console that might have second thoughts.
nice.
Yeah. I apologize for not having too much to say on ProofKit outside of that. Like I said, I'm more focused on infrastructure and whatnot here.
Yeah.
So, but we'll do our
Yeah. I mean,
best.
I did know that was kind of a different guys doing that. So, I mean, I didn't get too much into that or anything today. So, yeah, that
No
was,
worries. We have an active community as well on Discourse, and you can visit community.proof.sh and ask all the questions you want. And we have weekly office hours as well, so you can join in and chat with Todd and Eric and Kyle for ProofKit, for Auto FMS, etc.
yeah. Yeah, we're
Are you
really
guys going to
happy
be
you
at
guys.
full access?
I'm sorry.
Are you guys going to full access?
Todd, Eric, and myself will all be at full access this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
And I
really
think Todd.
excited to find out you guys were coming this year. I
Yeah.
didn't know if you were aware that I built the website and the integration for the registration system, the full
Yep.
scheduling, the entire, conference management system is all built in FileMaker and integrated through WordPress and through our plugin.
Mhm.
So,
I figured that out when we registered for your user group here. I was like, wow, this looks
it
exact.
looks very familiar, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, that's where it all began with this group.
Yep.
Jonathan Fletcher used to be the host and facilitator up until what's
Mhm.
it been about 5 years now, Jonathan, that you stepped
Yeah,
down and
probably.
I got thrown into the fire where I had just started coming to the group when it got on Zoom and
Mhm.
I went to the Christmas in-person Christmas meeting that year and Jonathan announced that he was going to be stepping away and thought maybe the group was going to shut down and I said, well, if you need somebody to help, I'm here and so I got all of a sudden it was like, okay, you're it. Now you're the host and facilitator. There you go.
Yeah,
And I just
you're
got
doing
dumped
a
into the
great
fire.
job too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
really appreciate
Excellent.
that.
yeah, so I redesigned the website and built our registration system and all that kind of stuff and kind of updated it and modernized it, built a new registration and
Mhm.
website and all that. And yeah, that's honestly what led to the development of the WordPress plugin. CWP snippets
Mhm.
came out of the whole process of learning how to and wanting to integrate for the group and build the registration system for the group. And it just
Mhm.
evolved into a project of wanting to figure out how to, because I went through all the pains of trying to figure out how to integrate with the data API in WordPress, which,
Mhm.
there's a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
it's not quite suited for. So that's when I came up with the idea to build the plugin to facilitate making those connections and getting all that stuff lined out.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
Wonderful.
exactly why the registration system looks so similar because it's basically built in the same on the same roadmap. So
Mhm. Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent.
So yeah, we've been really excited to be involved with that with full access. And I've met John several years ago. Well, I guess you'd call it several at Pause on Error, I
Mhm.
think 21. And
Mhm.
we became friends and got like he does with everybody. I mean, John Howell is friend of everybody. Everybody
Yep.
knows John Howell, but he had been a frequent visitor here at Kentuckiana Group, and
Oh, wonderful.
when he decided to put together a team to put together this conference, he
Mhm.
thought of our registration system and invited me to, come bring that skill over to full access.
I love it.
So it's been pretty neat. It's been,
A little
yeah.
history. John used to run what was called FileMaker Boot Camp. It was
Boot
it
camp,
was
yeah.
kind of like a pause on error kind of thing way back in the early aughts.
Hmm.
And it was really cool. And he would host it like in his house, and everybody would like come and live for a few days and just geek out on FileMaker for a few days. And he used to do that, and I so wanted to go to one of those. And then when Pause started up, I started going to that. But I
Hmm.
met him at Las Vegas one year,
Hmm.
and so we've collaborated on all kinds of things since then. But the this the full access thing, it's a dream of his to turn it into a premier conference. So
Hmm.
he's amazing. So anyway, disappointed he's not here today. Oh well.
I thought he registered. I thought I remember seeing him on the list.
He may have, but I don't
Hmm.
see him in the
No.
in the pictures. So, and we would have heard from him by now anyway. So
Yeah, I met John almost 20 years ago.
really, okay.
Yeah. It was I think it was his boot camp is where I met him, and
Oh, that's
I
cool.
had seen him. Yeah, I had seen him at various other conferences in the LA area as well, um, during
He
that
used to
time.
present a ton at
Hmm.
conferences. He would have multiple presentations at all the conferences, the
Hmm.
dev cons. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been a long time. I have to say, I think the last time I saw John was like 2014, so it's been some time.
oh yeah. Yeah, the first year that he submitted several ideas and Claris was heading in a different direction. They wanted, new blood or
Yeah.
whatever, and he didn't get, I'm sorry if this is being recorded. He didn't get approved. I thought the guy was going to cry because he was so focused on
Oh,
what he could bring to the community, and
yep.
they went other directions, and it was sad because that was just so much a part of who he was,
Yeah.
and is. So now he's running his own now. So
Well,
it's really
the
cool.
dream has come true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron works a lot closer to him than I do on the full access. So, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's quite a character.
oh yeah,
Quite a character.
forced to be reckoned with.
Yeah, maybe if we weren't being recorded, I could tell you some stories, but of course I can edit
Well,
them out, but
Ron, we'll save it for Scotch and full access, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. So
All right.
Well, I take it that about concludes our presentation today, and thank you guys so much for
yeah,
joining us and
Thank you for having us. Really
like I said,
appreciate it.
I for one really appreciate what Proof does for the community and the tools that y'all provide, and it's always great to get together with you guys and find out what you're working on now and what's new and what new shiny toy is coming out of the box and available to us all. So yeah, we appreciate it very
well,
much.
I'm excited
Wonderful.
to actually put a face on the name, Angelo. I've seen your name forever, and I had no idea what you look like. So that's great.
My cartoon avatar is pretty close, although the doesn't reflect the beard that has grayed more and more over the years.
Yeah,
Uh, this just makes you look more mature.
yeah. We'll definitely be looking forward to seeing you guys down at or over at Full Access over there. Down
100%.
south, those, yeah.
Cool.
Wonderful. Well, Thank you all. It was wonderful to see everybody here today.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
All
Angelo.
right, I'm going to go ahead and
Thank you, guys. Good job. That
end
was
the
awesome.
recording. I'm not necessarily ending the meeting if anybody wants to just stick around for a minute or two and chat, but I am signing off for the recording.